you dreaming of something new? You want a little more open space and a little less hustle and bustle? Looking for some land to grow a big garden or keep your animals? What about a shop or a barn? If you're looking for a little more country in your daily life, this video is for you because I'm going to touch on 10 important things you need to know when buying a farmhouse or an acreage, and this project is new to you. Hi there, my name's Emily Farber and I'm a realtor here in the greater Iowa City area. I create YouTube content all about real estate and the Iowa City area, including small towns and rural areas here in eastern Iowa. I offer a variety of free downloadable guides designed to help people just like you looking to buy, sell, or relocate. You can find links for all of these guides in the description box down below this video. If you're watching on your phone, just tap the title of this video and that description box will pop right open. And hey, if you are serious about finding the right farmhouse or the right acreage for you to call home here somewhere in the greater Iowa City area, definitely give me a call or a text and let's set up a custom notification system for you so that you don't miss out, because these properties tend to get snapped up very quickly. You can find all my contact information down below in that description box. Buying a farmhouse or an acreage is different in many ways than buying a standard in-town residential property. Today we're talking about 10 things you need to have on your radar to make sure that your country living dream stays just that way, a dream, and it doesn't lead you down a long gravel road to a property nightmare. First up, speaking of gravel, how do you feel about it? Many rural properties in Iowa are accessed by gravel roads, and gravel can be dusty, dirty, and a little bit shifty to drive on, and it can also decrease the property's value a bit depending upon how many miles of gravel it takes to get to your little slice of heaven. Gravel roads tend to not to be at the top of the list for county snowplows to clear after winter storms. So those roads may be temporarily impassable in the winter depending upon your vehicle. Hard surface roads are more desirable to many folks, so keep that in mind when you're weighing the pros and cons of a particular property. 2. A septic system is a bit of a mystery to some people. When you live way out in the middle of nowhere, there is not going to be a public sewage disposal system, hence the need for the septic. The septic system will need to be inspected before closing to make sure it is in good working order. Did you know that a septic system is sized according to the number of bedrooms in a house? So if you have plans to expand your house's bedroom count, you may accidentally end up outsizing your septic system, which could lead to some really costly issues down the road when you go to sell. You could either have to increase the capacity of your septic system, or you need to consider those bedrooms non-conforming and not market them as bedrooms. Septic systems are a significant expense and they do require routine maintenance. The cost of a new septic system, depending upon the size, is in the ballpark of $15,000 to $20,000. 3. Where does your water come from? A local municipality, rural water, or a well? Rural water is safe drinkable water that's brought to the property through a pipeline. There are 19 rural water systems in the state of Iowa, and the ability to connect into a rural water system is not always in your control. Beyond the expense of connecting into that system, if it's available in your area, is the need for a supply line to connect to the main, and that can require permission from neighboring property owners if those lines need to be laid on their property. If your property is not connected to rural water and you rely on a well, it's important to have the well water tested during your due diligence period for contaminants. Drilled wells in Iowa tend to be 40, maybe even up to 2,000 feet deep, depending upon the quality and the quantity of the water needed for your property. Homeowners should test for coliform bacteria, nitrate, nitrite, and manganese. It's also recommended that you test the water for arsenic. If your well is shallow, old, or hand dug, You should also test for pesticides and other commonly used farm chemicals. Runoff is one of the greatest challenges for Iowa's well water. One other tidbit, sometimes a few houses close by share a well. If that's the case, you'll want to be sure there's a well agreement in place, recorded at the county, and that you understand that agreement. For instance, how is well maintenance or well replacement expenses, how will those be shared between property owners? Just to give you a frame of reference, it can easily cost $25,000 to $30,000 to drill a new well that's about 150 feet deep. 4. Another important basic to think about if you've never lived in a rural home before is your heat source. Is it LP or wood? A LP or liquid propane tank sits outside and supplies the needed fuel to your gas burning appliances, such as your furnace, your water heater, and your stove. You can rent or own the LP tank, but keep in mind there's pros and cons to each one of those options. I'm going to leave a link to a helpful blog about this subject down in the description box for you to read some more. If your fuel source is wood, think about the logistics of maintaining a steady source of wood for your wood burning furnace or your stoves. Do you have a good supply of seasoned wood? Are you physically capable of chopping, splitting, stacking, and hauling? There's other fuel options beyond just logs. Pellets, wood chips, and corn are fuel sources to consider, but they also may require specialized equipment specific to that fuel source. 5. While talking about burning wood may feel very old school, let's switch gears and chat about something more modern, the internet. Not every place has broadband service. If you have a job, schooling, or hobbies that require high-speed internet service, that's definitely something to keep in mind, because from what I've heard, satellite internet service leaves quite a bit to be desired. 6. So, are you moving out to the country because you have visions of keeping some animals, using the land for hunting, target shooting, or other purposes? Make sure you know the applicable rules, laws, and zoning regulations that could impact your land use. For instance, horses and goats are considered livestock, not pets, and I've encountered rural acreages that fall within city limits even though the closest town is miles away, and those towns have zoning rules about no livestock within city limits. So my best advice is to carefully think about what you want to do with your land now and in the future. Investigate the zoning ordinances so that you understand what is a legally permitted use of the land, and then make sure that those uses align with your current plans and future plans. 7. This one might surprise you. What do you do with the trash? The municipal garbage truck most likely isn't coming all the way out there to collect your garbage. Recycling and composting will of course reduce your waste. You may be able to burn some other items, but some stuff you're just going to have to haul to the dump yourself. Maybe, if you're lucky, you'll be able to hire a private trash collection company to come and get your trash if you live within their service zone. 8. So we've all heard this saying, good fences make good neighbors. There are a lot of both informal agreements and laws when it comes to fences. One informal way of dealing with fence maintenance is called the right-hand rule. Adjacent property owners meet at the center span of a fence and each agrees to maintain the portion of the fence to their right-hand sides. If your neighbor keeps livestock and you don't, you are still responsible to keep your portion of the fence tight, which generally means woven barbed wire securely affixed. Interestingly, you are also responsible for keeping livestock out. I once sold a rural lot that was subdivided off an existing farm. The split had happened a long time ago, and livestock was allowed to graze all over the vacant lot. However, once that lot owner decided he or she wanted to build there, according to the terms of the subdivision agreement, it would be the lot owner's responsibility to erect the fence between the residential lot and the adjoining agricultural land, not the responsibility of the livestock owner. 9. Did you know that there are financing rules that may affect your plans to buy an acreage? Conventional financing, such as Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, have restrictions that may affect your rural property purchase. Be sure to discuss your financing options carefully with your lender so you don't have any unpleasant surprises part of the way into your transaction. 10. While it may feel like you've got the world to yourself out there in your little piece of countryside, make sure that you know what's nearby, downwind, and upstream. Walk the property lines, drive all around at various times of day and night, use Google Earth, or even consider hiring a drone operator to help you get a look at the areas that are not easily accessible. Are there any hog or poultry buildings nearby? Wind turbines? High voltage power lines? Any other rural commercial and industrial businesses? Farming and other rural activities are not going to change just because you moved in, and they come with noise, dust, odors, and insects. The attitude will be, just deal with it. There's a lot more to it when it comes to buying or researching for your acreage, and I hope that this gets your gears turning. I bet my viewers would love to hear your suggestions of things to think about when shopping for a farmhouse or an acreage, so leave me a comment down in the comments section below. Hey, it's been fun, and I'll catch you later.